I am Thalassar, Archon, Prime of the Neptune Enclave, bearer of the Trident Ascendant, last of the true tide, blooded. They have sealed me within the adamantium cyst beneath the spire of tides, where the pressure is absolute and the dark is older than stars. At the first pulse of the 10-0 first cycle, the null lances will fire. My gene, forged flesh, will unspool into vapor, my engrams scattered like foam on a receding wave. Fitting, then, that my final hours should be spent in confession. Not to the inquisitors who condemned me, not to the silent choir of servo, skulls that orbit my cell, recording every syllable for the Black Library, but to you asterisk, whoever finds this correlinked testament when the oceans have long since boiled away. The quill in my hand is alive, living coral, etched to secrete bioluminescent ink that glows the color of drowned moons. Each word is pain, each stroke a memory torn from the tidal vaults of my mind. Truth after 10,000 years of lies. The weight of it crushes my trident, wrought physiology. But speak I must. The galaxy must know what the Galactic Imperium has buried beneath 1 trillion fathoms of deceit. I remember the birth, not mine, Poseidon's. The memory is not my own, yet it lives in me like a leviathan coiled around my spine. When the gene vaults of the Neptune Enclave first quickened my flesh, they poured into me the archived engrams of every Archon who came before. 10,000 years of tidal memory compressed into a single heartbeat. I felt the moment Kronos, then Emperor of the first stellar Dominia, opened his maw and swallowed his infant son whole. Picture it, Cronus Prime, a forge, world of molten iron seas and continent-sized foundries. The sky was a permanent bruise of smog and plasma exhaust. Kronos stood upon the adamant balcony, a colossus of ceramite and gene-forged muscle, his armor plated with the hulls of 1,000 conquered void ships. His consort, Re, a bios-sculpted matriarch whose womb had birthed the Olympian line, cradled the child in arms of living Mercury. Poseidon, barely larger than a mortal infant, yet already radiating the blue-white flare of a nascent god. His eyes were storm, gray, ancient, knowing asterisk. Kronos feared the prophecy. The oracles of the Mechanicum Arcanum had spoken in voices of grinding crystal, asterisk. The youngest shall unmake the eldest. Asterisk, so he acted with the brutal efficiency that defined the first dominion. One hand, gauntleted in adamantine, closed around the child. The other pried open jaws that could crush a moon. Poseidon did not cry. He simply looked asterisk. And then he was gone, swallowed, digested, archived. The act was not mere murder. It was assimilation asterisk. Kronos believed he could absorb the child's potential, fold Poseidon's nascent dominion into his own. He was wrong. The infant god did not dissolve. He waited curled in the Titan's furnace stomach, surrounded by rivers of molten adamantium and gene. Slurry, Poseidon dreamed. He dreamed of oceans that had never existed, of tides that could drown stars, of a trident forged from the heart of a dying world. But the galaxy is not kind to tyrants. Zeus, eldest of the Olympian line, forged in the lightning forges of Jupiter's storm, cradles, did not accept his brother's erasure. He rallied the remnants of the Dominion's fleets, the storm, legions of the gas, giant enclaves, the thunder, forges that birthed plasma lances capable of cracking moons. He enlisted Metis, the titan of wisdom, whose mind was a lattice of quantum cognition, and whose body was a cathedral of living code. She walked the void in a cloak of starlight, her eyes twin singularities that devoured data. Together, they crafted the elixir, a nanoplague keyed to Kronos' gene, code delivered in a chalice of living mercury. Kronos drank during the Feast of Ascension, beneath banners woven from the skins of defeated Xenos. The chalice touched his lips, the nanoplague surged, his body convulsed, the world trembled, continents cracked like eggshells, foundries collapsed into their own molten hearts, and from the Titan's ruptured abdomen poured not blood, but asterisk children asterisk. First Hades, cloaked in shadow and starlight, his skin a map of nulls, base, his breath the silence between heartbeats. Then Poseidon, larger now, Trident already forming in his grip, forged from the molten core of Cronus Prime itself. The metal sang as it cooled, a note that shattered the orbital mirrors and plunged the planet into eternal night. I felt it in my bones when the memory hit. The Trident's birth, not a weapon, but an asterisk extension asterisk of Poseidon's will. The Cyclopes, three forge, masters of the Kuiper enclaves, their single eyes plasma furnaces, had crafted it from a shard of the planet's mantle, infused with the quantum resonance of Neptune's cryo-oceans. When Poseidon gripped it, the galaxy asterisk shifted asterisk. Tides on distant worlds reversed. Void, whales sang in frequencies that shattered hulls. Storms raged on gas giants 1,000 light years away, and Kronos, mighty Kronos, fell to his knees, his empire crumbling like rust in the rain. We imprisoned him in Tartaros, not a prison, but a asterisk fold asterisk in space-time, a black hole engineered by Hades' shadow science. The event horizon was a mouth that never closed. The elder gods, titans of the first dominion, were dragged screaming into its maw. Their armor melted, their gene, seed boiled. Their screams still echo in the Neptunian archives, a subsonic dirge that keeps my people awake. I have heard it every night since my ascension, a lullaby of damnation. After the war, the brothers drew lots. The lots were not dice, but asterisk worlds asterisk. Zeus took the skies, Jupiter's storm, cradles, the gash, giant forges, the lightning legions that rode thunderheads like cavalry. Hades took the underworld, the shadow realms, the nulls, base between stars, the silent fleets that moved unseen through the dark. Poseidon took the sea, not just Neptune's oceans, but asterisk all asterisk water in the galaxy. Every droplet on every world, every hydrogen atom in every star, every tear shed by every sentient being, the domain was infinite, and so was the burden. I was born into that burden. The Neptunian Enclave, my enclave, was the first of Poseidon's strongholds. A Dyson sphere of living coral and adamantine orbiting a water, world the size of 1,000 terras. Its oceans were not water, but asterisk liquid memory asterisk, gene-etched fluid that recorded every tide, every storm, every battle. We were the Trident, bearers, gene, forged to breathe vacuum and pressure alike. Our lungs filtered hydrogen from helium storms. Our hearts pumped cryo, plasma. Our armor was grown, not forged. Scales of Leviathan bone laced with nanotides that shifted like mercury. Our weapons were the Trident's children, harpoons that could pierce a battle fleet, lances that rode tidal waves through the void, spears that sang in frequencies that shattered minds. For 10,000 years, we ruled the oceans of the Imperium. We drowned the orc tide, worlds in their own blood, their scrap, fleets sinking into abyssal trenches we carved with gravity lances. We froze the Eldar craft worlds in cryo, storms, their wraithbone cracking like ice under the weight of our song. We even fought the Necrons when they rose from their tomb, moons our tridents shattering their phase, shields like glass dragging their world, engines into the crushing dark. I remember the battle of the Abyssal Rift, my first command. The Necron tomb fleet emerged from a black hole's accretion disk, their Gauss lances carving moons into confetti. We met them with the asterisk Leviathan, Ascendant asterisk, my flagship, a living cathedral of coral and void, steel, its spires piercing the void like harpoons. I stood upon the prow, trident raised, and asterisk sang asterisk. The void answered. A tidal wave of dark matter surged from Neptune's outer rings, folding space like paper. The Necrons phased through it. Then asterisk froze asterisk. Their chronomancy failed, their phase, shields shattered. We harpooned their world, engines, and dragged them into the abyss, their screams swallowed by the pressure. But the golden age ended. The Imperium forgot us. The Administratum rerouted our tithes to the Martian forges, claiming our oceans were inefficient. The Inquisition branded our title, cults as warp, taint, our songs as heresy. They sent the Grey Knights, their aegis armor gleaming like false stars. They sent the Black Templars, their chainswords howling for blood. They sent the Null, lances, beams of anti-reality, that unmade gene, forged flesh. My enclave fell in a single night. The Dyson sphere cracked like an egg. The liquid memory oceans boiled away. My brothers and sisters, Trident, bearers, all were dissolved into mist. I alone survived, dragged in chains to the spire of tides. And now, at dawn, they will dissolve me. I write this in the dark. My cells only light the bioluminescent ink. The trident asterisk, my asterisk trident, lies broken in the spire's vault. Its shards still sing. They remember. The cell's walls pulse with the spire's heartbeat. I hear the null, lances charging. My time grows short, but the oceans remember, the tides remember, and the galaxy will drown in truth. Hash the Trident's confession, ## part Roman, 2, the War of the Gigantes 2, 5. 100 words, the cell is colder now. The spire of tides has begun its preed. On contraction, adamantium ribs tightening like a dying leviathan. The null, lances hum in the distance, a subsonic throb that rattles the coral quill in my fingers. My confession continues. Ink bleeds brighter as my blood pressure rises. Gene, forged reflexes fighting the inevitable. I am Thalassar, last Archon, and this is the second truth. The war of the Gigantes, when the oceans themselves rose against the stars. I was not there, not in flesh. My birth was still 6 centuries away when the Gigantes marched. But the engrams of Archon Chimatho, my gene, mother, tide, singer of the asterisk Leviathan, Ascendant Asteris, live in me like barnacles on a hull. Her memories are mine, her terror, her triumph, her asterisk rage asterisk. It began in the 447th cycle of the Imperium. The Olympian line had ruled for millennia, Zeus upon his thunder, throne in Jupiter's storm, cradles. Aids in the shadow, realms, his nulf, leets slipping between realities like ghosts. Poseidon, my father, in the Neptunian Enclave, his trident, the axis around which all tides turned. The galaxy was stable. Or so we believed. Then the blood woke. Kronos' blood. When Poseidon's trident pierced the Titan's heart on Cronus Prime, a single drop escaped the black hole of Tartaros. It drifted for centuries, a crimson comet trailing golden ichor. It struck the void, moon of Gaia Secundus, a barren rock orbiting a dead star, and from that drop grew the Gigantes, not children, abominations, colossi of living stone and starfire. Their skin was bedrock veined with plasma. Their eyes were magma vents, their footsteps cracked planetary crusts. The first to rise was Polybotes, mountain given flesh, continent given will. He stood taller than a hive spire, his shadow eclipsing moons. When he spoke, gravity wells formed around his words. They came for Olympus Prime, Zeus's fortress, world, a gas giant converted into a thunderhead of adamantine and storm. Its rings were weaponized, orbital lances that could bisect fleets. Its core was a fusion heart that powered the lightning legions. The Gigantes did not announce war. They arrived. Polybotes led the assault. He hurled a continent, tripped from Gaia Secundus, like a javelin. It struck Olympus Prime's equator, shearing away a third of the planet's mass. Atmosphere bled into the void. Storm. Cradles collapsed. Zeus's thunder. Throne cracked down the middle. The lightning legions responded. A million gene-forged warriors in Aurum plate, riding thunderheads like cavalry. Their lances were plasma arcs that could vaporize battle cruisers. They charged. The Gigantes laughed. Polybotes caught a lance mid-flight, crushed it into a singularity, and threw it back. The explosion consumed an entire legion. Hades sent his shadow fleets, nulls, base dreadnoughts that phased through reality. Their weapons were silence, beams that erased existence. They struck Polybotes from behind. The giant turned His fist punched through nulls, base, dragging a dreadnought into the Imperium. He crushed it like tin. Poseidon watched from the Leviathan Ascendant his flagship, a living cathedral of coral and void, steel, its spires piercing the void like harpoons. He stood upon the prow, trident glowing like a captured star. Chimatho, my mother, stood at his side, her voice the tide's own song. They are not Xenos, Poseidon said. His voice was the ocean's depth. They are us, the blood remembers. He sang not with words, with will. The trident resonated. Neptune's oceans, trillions of kilometers away, answered. A tidal wave folded through space-time, not water. Dark matter, a black ocean that swallowed light. It struck Polybotes like the fist of a god. The giant staggered. His bedrock skin cracked. Magma bled, but he did not fall. He laughed, and from his wounds poured more Gigantes. Poseidon knew then, this was not a war of weapons. This was a war of domains. He summoned the Cyclopes, the same forge, masters who had crafted his trident. They came in their void forges, trailing comet, tails of plasma. Their single eyes were plasma furnaces. Their hands could shape stars. Together, they forged the Cos protocol. Cos was a moon, once a mining colony, now a weapon. They hollowed it, filled it with gravity engines. Tidal cores, quantum resonators. Poseidon lifted it with a trident. A moon became a hammer. Polybotes charged. His footsteps cracked the void. His fist raised to shatter Olympus Prime. The moon fell. The impact was silent. In the vacuum, there is no sound, but the galaxy asterisk felt asterisk it. Kos buried polyboats beneath a continent of stone and sea. The giant's scream warped space-time. His blood, golden ichor, froze into a new ring around Olympus Prime. The Gigantes faltered, their leader crushed, their purpose broken. Zeus's lightning legions swept through. Hades's shadow, fleets struck from behind. Poseidon's tidal wave followed. The war lasted 3 days. 3 days of shattered moons and bleeding stars. When it ended, Olympus Prime was a husk. Its rings were graveyards. Its core was cracked. Zeus's throne was slag. But victory has a price. The Kos protocol destabilized the outer system. Neptune's rings collapsed. The Enclave's Dyson sphere cracked like an egg. Liquid memory oceans boiled away, and Poseidon, my father, bled golden ichor for the first time. I felt it when the memory hit. Mythos engrams surged. She was on the asterisk Leviathan asterisk S bridge when Poseidon fell to one knee. Golden blood dripped from his chest, sizzling where it struck the coral deck. The Trident's song turned mournful. The oceans wept, we won. Kymatho whispered. Poseidon looked at her. His storm, gray eyes were ancient. We asterisk survived asterisk. He said, there is a difference. They rebuilt, stronger. The Enclave became a fortress of living coral and void, steel. The Dyson sphere was reforged, its cracks filled with the bones of fallen gigantes. They forged the Leviathan guard, my brothers and sisters Trident, bearers all. Their armor was grown from Leviathan bone. Their weapons sang in frequencies that shattered minds. I was born into that fortress, the first child of the new Enclave. My cradle was a tide, pool of liquid memory. My lullaby was the Trident's song. I grew in the shadow of the Kos protocol. We trained beneath the cracked Dyson sphere. We rode void, whales through the outer rings. We learned to sing the ocean's will. For centuries we were the Imperium's shield. We drowned the Tyrannid hive, fleets in acid tides. We froze the chaos warbands in cryo, storms. We even fought the orcs when they came in their billions, their scrap. Fleets sinking into abyssal trenches we carved with gravity lances. But the Imperium forgot us. The Administratum rerouted our tithes to the Martian forges. The Inquisition branded our title. Cults as warp, taint. They sent the Grey Knights. They sent the Black Templars. They sent the Null lances. My Enclave fell in a single night. The Dyson sphere cracked like an egg. The liquid memory oceans boiled away. My brothers and sisters, Trident, bearers, all were dissolved into mist. I alone survived, dragged in chains to the spire of tides. The cell's walls pulse with the spire's heartbeat. The Null lances charge. My time grows short, but the oceans remember, the tides remember, and the galaxy will drown in truth. I was there when the Kos protocol was reactivated, not in the war. Centuries later, the Imperium faced a new threat, the Necron tomb, world of Thalassar Prime. My namesake awoke. Its Gauss lances carved hive, fleets into confetti. Its world engine threatened to consume the sector. The Enclave answered. I led the fleet. The asterisk Leviathan, Ascendant Aster, is rebuilt, reforged, asterisk alive asterisk. We sang the Kos protocol. A moon lifted from the outer system, filled with gravity engines, tidal cores, quantum resonators. The Necrons laughed. Their phase shields flickered. Their chronomancy slowed time. We struck. The moon fell. The impact shattered the world engine. The Necrons froze, their phase shields shattered. We harpooned their tomb ships and dragged them into the abyss. But the price was high. The moon's fall cracked Neptune's core. The Enclave's Dyson sphere shattered. The liquid memory oceans boiled away. The Imperium called it victory. We called it sacrifice. The Inquisition came. They branded us heretics. They took our tridents. They dissolved our gene. Vaults. I fought. I sang. I drowned a grey knight in his own armor, but the null lances fired. Now I sit in this cell. The coral quill trembles. The ink fades. The trident's shards sing in the vault. They remember polyboats. They remember Kos. They remember me. Dawn approaches. The spire contracts. The null lances hum, but the oceans remember, the tides remember, and the galaxy will drown in truth. The cell has begun to weep, not metaphor. Actual condensation, cold and metallic, trickles down the adamantium walls like tears from a dying god. The spire of tides is contracting faster now, pressure building toward the null, lances firing threshold. My coral quill is fraying. The bioluminescent ink sputters, casting erratic shadows that dance like void. Whales in a storm. I am Thalassar, last Archon, and this is the third truth. The contest for Athena Prime, when Poseidon offered the galaxy a gift, and the galaxy spat in his face. I was not there, not in body. My birth was still 4 centuries distant when the contest unfolded, but the engrams of Archon narrator tide, sculptor, horse, breeder, breaker of worlds, live in me like a kraken coiled in my chest. Her memories are mine, her pride, her fury, her grief. It began in the 5/112th cycle of the Imperium. The Olympian line had consolidated power. Zeus ruled the skies from Olympus Prime, his lightning legions patrolling the gas, giant trade lanes. Hades governed the underworld from the shadow realms, his Nulf, Leets enforcing silence on the galaxy's fringes. Poseidon, my father, held the oceans from the Neptunian Enclave, his trident the fulcrum of every tide, every current, every drop of water in the Imperium. The galaxy was divided. Order reigned, or so the administratum claimed. Then came Athena Prime, a paradise world, terraformed in the image of ancient Terra's Mediterranean cradle. Crystal oceans lapped at marble shores. Floating cities drifted on antigrav cushions, their spires piercing clouds of engineered auroras. Its people, gene, pure, enlightened, worshipped knowledge above all. They called themselves the Logos Enclave. Their leader was Kekrops, a augmented philosopher whose mind was a lattice of quantum cognition, his body sustained by neural symbiotes that glowed like starlight. The Olympian line claimed the world, not through conquest, through contest, a tradition older than the Imperium itself. 3 gifts, 3 gods, 1 choice. Zeus sent his lightning, a store, Mengen the size of a moon, forged in Jupiter's thunder, forges. It hovered above Athena Prime, crackling with plasma arcs that could power a sector, energy without end. Zeus proclaimed, power to fuel your enlightenment. Hades sent his shadows, a nulls, fear, a pocket of anti-reality that erased entropy. It floated in the void, a black pearl that swallowed light, silence without decay. Hades intoned, preservation for your knowledge. Poseidon sent a horse, not just any horse, the protosteeds. Gene, forged from the DNA of extinct Terran equines, cross, spliced with void, whale neural lattices, and Leviathan muscle fibers. They were magnificent, coats of liquid mercury that shifted to match the void's hues. Manes of solar sails that drank starlight. Hooves that struck sparks capable of igniting fusion reactions. They could gallop through vacuum. Their breath was plasma. Their eyes held the depth of oceans. Poseidon arrived on the Leviathan Ascendant, flanked by Narration and the Leviathan Guard. He stood upon the prow, trident raised, the protosteeds arrayed behind him like a cavalry of gods. "This is my gift," he declared, voice carrying across the planet's oceans. "Freedom without chains, motion without limit, life that moves." Kekrops convened the Logos Council in the floating Acropolis, a city of white marble and crystal that drifted above the capital ocean. The debate lasted 9 days. Zeus's store, Mengen promised power, Hades's nulls, fear promised eternity, Poseidon's protosteeds promised change. On the 10th day, Kekrops ascended the Acropolis' highest spire. His neural symbiotes glowed like a halo. He held Athena's olive tree, a bio-engineered symbol of peace, knowledge, stasis. "I choose the tree," he announced, "stability over chaos, knowledge over motion, order over life." The protosteeds screamed. Not with voices, with will. Their solar manes flared. Their hooves struck the void, igniting plasma storms. Nereida, my gene, mother, felt it like a blade in her heart. Poseidon did not speak. He acted. He struck the ocean with the trident, not the planet's ocean. All oceans, every drop of water on Athena Prime answered. Tides reversed. Waves rose like mountains. The floating cities fell. Salt turned to acid. Coral bleached white. The crystal oceans boiled. A drought followed, not of water, but of life. The olive tree withered. Its leaves turned to ash. The protosteeds withered, their solar manes dimming, their hooves cracking. Kekrops watched from the Acropolis as his paradise drowned. He did not beg. He understood. "This is the price of refusal." Poseidon said. His voice was the ocean's rage. "You chose stasis. Now live in it." The Logos Enclave turned to the Mechanicum for salvation. Their floating cities became hive spires bolted to the seabed. Their crystal oceans became sludge, pumped through filtration engines. Their people, once enlightened, became servitors, their minds latticed to cogitators. Poseidon's name became a curse, whispered in the underhives, scratched into bulkheads, carved into the bones of the drowned. But the horse did not die. The protosteeds evolved. They adapted to the void. Their manes became plasma sails. Their hooves became gravity tethers. They became the void stallions. My enclave's war mounts. We ride them still, their breath igniting stars, their hooves cracking hulls. I was born into that legacy, the first child to ride a void stallion. My cradle was a tide, pool of liquid memory. My first steps were on the back of a beast that could outrun light. Narration taught me the song, the Trident's song, the ocean's will. We hid our true strength. The Enclave built the Thalassic vaults, suboceanic fortresses where the protosteeds bred in secret. We gene forged our children in the dark, their blood laced with void whale essence. We sang to the tides, keeping Poseidon's gift alive. But the Inquisition found us. They branded our vaults as warp nests. They sent the Grey Knights, their aegis armor gleaming like false stars. They sent the Black Templars, their chainswords howling for blood. They sent the Null lances. I fought on the back of either hoof, my void stallion. His mane flared like a supernova. His hooves shattered a Grey Knight's armor. I sang the ocean's rage. A tidal wave of dark matter surged from the vault's core. It drowned a squad of Terminators. Their aegis fields flickered. Their faith failed, but the null. Lances fired. Either hoof screamed. His plasma blood boiled. I fell. They dragged me in chains to the spire of tides. The thalassic vaults were dissolved. The void stallions were culled. The Trident's song fell silent. Now I sit in this cell. The coral quill trembles. The ink sputters. The cell's walls weep colder now. The spire's heartbeat quickens. The null lances charge. I was there when the contest's echo returned. Centuries later, the Imperium faced a new paradise. Elysium Secundus, a world of floating gardens and pure poets. They worshipped beauty, they rejected war. The Olympian line offered gifts again. Zeus sent a store, Mengen. Hades sent a nulse, fear. Thalassar, last Archon, sent a void stallion. They chose the tree. Again, I did not rage. I sang. The oceans answered. Elysium Secundus drowned. Its gardens became sludge. Its poets became servitors. The Imperium called it heresy. I called it mercy. The Inquisition came. They took my trident. They dissolved my enclave. They chained me here. The trident's shards sing in the vault. They remember the protosteeds. They remember Athena Prime. They remember me. Dawn approaches. The spire contracts, the null. Lances hum, but the oceans remember, the tides remember, and the galaxy will drown in truth. I dreamed of the contest last night, not narrator's memory, my own. I stood on the Acropolis, trident raised. Kekrops held the olive tree. The protosteeds screamed. I offered them life. They chose death. I woke weeping golden ichor. The cell's walls drank it. The spire tightened. The coral quill is nearly spent. The ink fades to black. One more truth remains, the blinding of the Cyclops, the curse of Odysseus, the end of the song. But first I sing the Trident's song. The ocean's will, the cell trembles, the spire screams. The null lances fire, the oceans remember, the tides remember, and the galaxy drowns. The cell is no longer a chamber. It is a womb of annihilation. The spire of tides has inverted adamantium ribs, folding inward with the slow, inexorable pressure of a black hole's accretion disk. Every breath I draw is a battle against vacuum. The air has turned to liquid metal, searing my lungs with the taste of molten coral and ionized blood. The null lances are no longer humming. They scream a keening wail that resonates at the exact frequency of my gene-forged bones, threatening to shatter them into crystalline dust. My coral quill is a splintered relic, its final vein of bioluminescent ink pulsing like the dying heart of a void whale. Each word I etch into the adamantium floor is agony incarnate, the ink mixing with the golden ichor weeping from my eyes. I am Thalassar, last Archon, Prime of the Neptune Enclave, bearer of the Trident Ascendant, and this is the final truth, the blinding of the Cyclops when a single mortal man, Odysseus, plunged a stake into the eye of Poseidon's son and unleashed a curse that drowned the galaxy in 10 years of unrelenting tidal vengeance. I was there, not in engram, not in inherited memory, in raw, bleeding flesh. I was 23 cycles old, freshly ascended to the Leviathan Guard, my trident still warm from the Cyclopean forge, Master's plasma kiss. The engrams of Archon Tritentide, Breaker, Curse, Weaver, the hunter who rode the edge of Poseidon's wrath, had only just begun to root in my neural lattice when the astropathic scream hit the Leviathan Ascendant. Polyphemus was blinded, my half-brother, Poseidon's favored son, the galaxy fractured along fault lines no auspex could map. It began on Ithaca Secundus, a desolate fringe world of red dust, olive groves, and a single, stagnant ocean orbiting a dying red dwarf. Odysseus, mortal, hero of the Trojan siege, captain of the Argo reborn, had limped home from the war with 10,000 ships, their hulls scarred by Eldar shurikens and orc mega-cannons. His crew was gene-forged veterans, their eyes glowing with combat stims, their armor patched with Xeno's bone. They sought water. They found Polyphemus. Polyphemus was no monster. He was a forge child, born of Poseidon and the nymph Thalassar in the hidden Cyclopean enclaves. Forge, moons cloaked in Neptune's outer rings, where gravity was a suggestion and plasma was a prayer. His body was a cathedral of adamantium and living coral, his skin etched with tidal runes that glowed with the blue-white fire of Neptune's cryo-oceans. His single eye was a plasma forge, a contained star hot enough to birth suns, its gaze capable of melting void, steel at a glance. His hands could shape nebulae with a thought. He tended the stellar herds, void, whales gene, forged to graze on dark matter, their songs powering the Enclave's reactors, their milk distilled into the ichor that sustained the Leviathan god. Odysseus's fleet landed at dusk. Polyphemus, ever hospitable, offered shelter in his coral cavern, a vast, bioluminescent chamber carved into Ithaca's only mountain, its walls pulsing with the heartbeat of the ocean. He shared his herd's milk, a nectar that granted visions of drowned stars. Odysseus drank, his men drank, and in the firelight of Polyphemus's forge, they saw power. They mistook it for threat. That night, while the forge child slept, his snores shaking the cavern like tidal quakes, Odysseus and 12 of his strongest veterans heated an olive wood stake in the embers of Polyphemus's eye. The wood ancient, harvested from Ithaca's sacred groves, was dense as neutronium, its tip sharpened to a monomolecular point. They drove it home. The scream was apocalyptic. Polyphemus's eye exploded in a geyser of plasma blood, a supernova contained within a skull. The cavern collapsed. Ithaca Secundus's stagnant ocean flash boiled, its vapor forming a storm that wrapped the planet in a shroud of acid rain. Void, whales in the outer system wailed in frequencies that shattered hull plating across the sector. Astropath's light, years away, collapsed, their minds burned out by the psychic backlash. I was on the Leviathan Ascendant when the Trident sang, not the gentle hum of tides, a dirge that cracked the flagship's coral spires. Poseidon stood upon the prow, his armor, grown from Leviathan bone and laced with nanotides, blitting at the seams as golden ichor poured from his eyes, mouth, and the seams of his gene-forged flesh. The Trident's prongs fractured, lightning arcing between them in a corona that blinded the void. Neptune's oceans, trillions of kilometers away, rose in a single, unified surge. A tidal wave of dark matter and plasma braided into a noose that folded through space-time, seeking its target. Odysseus, Poseidon whispered, his voice the abyss-given sound. You have blinded my son. Now I blind your future. Your name will be a curse on every tide. Your blood will salt every ocean. Your legacy will drown. The Odyssean curse was born. Not a spell, not a war, ritual, a will woven into the fabric of reality by the Trident's song. Every drop of water in the galaxy, every hydrogen atom, every tear, every bead of sweat on a billion worlds, turned against the mortal hero. Odysseus's fleet, 10,000 ships, sailed into the void, seeking home. The curse followed like a shadow cast by a dying star. First came the void, Kraken, Leviathan's gene, forged in the Thalassic vaults, their tentacles laced with gravity tethers that could crush a battlecruiser into a singularity. They rose from the dark between stars, their eyes bioluminescent beacons that hypnotized navigators. One Kraken, abyssal sovereign, coiled around the Argo reborn. Its tentacles punched through void, shields like paper. The hull crumpled with a sound like a god's spine snapping. Odysseus cut free with a plasma blade, forged from Polyphemus' own blood. But 3,000 ships were dragged into the abyss, their crews screaming as pressure crushed them into red mist. Then came the sirens, worms, nanoclouds of choral and sound, netched to sing in frequencies that bypassed augmetics and shattered minds. They enveloped the fleet like a plague of locusts. Crewmen tore off their helmets, eyes bleeding golden ichor, whispering Odysseus's name in a chorus of madness. They leapt into the void, their bodies freezing into statues of ice and regret, their faces locked in eternal screams. Entire frigates were crewed by the dead, their cogitators slaved to the siren's song. I rode the curse's edge on either hoof, my void stallion. His mane flared like a supernova, his hooves struck sparks that ignited nebulae. Tritons and grams guided my hand. We harpooned Odysseus's escorts with lances of liquid adamantium. We drowned his marines in their own power armor, flooding their helmets with plasma until their eyes burst. We sang the ocean's rage, our voices a tidal wave that shattered Auspex arrays and drove astropaths to suicide. The curse lasted 10 years. 10 years of shattered fleets, bleeding stars, and drowned worlds. Odysseus's homeworld, Athena Prime, was submerged in a tsunami of liquid adamantium, its hive, cities sinking into abyssal trenches carved by the Trident's will. His wife, Penelope, Jean, pure and faithful, was encased in living coral, her screams silenced as pressure crushed her into a statue of eternal loyalty. His son, Telemachus, was devoured by sirens, worms, his mind latticed to their song, his body a puppet dancing in the void. But Odysseus survived. He always did. A mortal who defied a god. He navigated the Scylla Nebula, a storm of plasma and gravity where ships vanished into singularities. He outran the Charybdis maelstrom, a black hole that sang in Poseidon's voice, its event horizon a mouth that devoured light. He even breached the Lotus Veil, a war, rift where time folded and memories bled, where the dead whispered his name in languages older than stars. On the 10th year, he reached the edge of the galaxy. A war rift shimmered like a wound in reality, its edges pulsing with the colors of drowned suns. Odysseus stood on the Argo Reborn's prow, his plasma blade dripping with Kraken blood. He looked back at the curse, my curse, and smiled. Then he stepped through. The curse broke. The Trident's song fell silent. Neptune's ocean stilled. Poseidon collapsed on the Leviathan Ascendant's deck, his armor splitting, his ichor freezing into a new ring around the Enclave. I was there when he returned to the bridge. His armor was slag. His trident was dim, its prongs cracked like broken teeth. His storm, gray eyes were empty, voids deeper than Tartaros. He is gone, Poseidon said, his voice a whisper that cracked coral. Beyond my reach, beyond the ocean's will, beyond forgiveness. The Cyclopean enclaves were disbanded. The Forge children were culled, their plasma forges extinguished. Polyphemos wandered the void, a blind giant, his plasma blood trailing like a comet's tail, his screams a subsonic dirge that haunted the outer systems. I was born into that silence, the last Archon, the last Trident bearer. We hid the curse's remnants, the void. Kraken were chained in the Thalassic vaults, their gravity, tentacles bound with null chains. The sirens, worms were sealed in coral orbs, their songs muted to a whisper. The Trident's song was forbidden, its notes erased from the liquid memory oceans. But the Imperium forgot us. The Administratum rerouted our tithes to the Martian forges, claiming our oceans were inefficient. The Inquisition branded our gene, cults as war, taint our songs as heresy. They sent the Grey Knights, their aegis armor gleaming like false stars. They sent the Black Templars, their chainswords howling for blood. They sent the Null, lances, beams of anti-reality that unmade gene, forged flesh. I fought when they came. On either hoof, trident raised, I sang the curse's echo. A tidal wave of dark matter surged from the vault's core. It drowned a squad of Grey Knight Terminators, their aegis fields flickering like dying candles. Their faith failed, their armor cracked, their screams were swallowed by the pressure, but the Null, lances fired. Either hoof screamed, his plasma blood boiling into a nova. His mane ignited, consuming him in a blaze of starfire. I fell, my trident shattered, my armor split, my ichor painting the vault's floor. They dragged me in chains to the spire of tides. The Enclave fell in a single night. The Dyson sphere cracked like an egg. The liquid memory oceans boiled away. My brothers and sisters, Trident, bearers all were dissolved into mist. Now I sit in this tomb. The coral quill is dust. The ink is gone. The cell's walls crush inward with the force of a collapsing star. The spire screams, its adamantium bones snapping. The Null, lances fire, their beams are white, hot erasure of reality. My flesh unspools. My engrams scatter like foam on a receding wave. But the oceans remember. The tides remember, and the galaxy drowns. I dreamed of Odysseus last night. He stood on the edge of the war, prift, plasma blade in hand, his eyes storm, gray like Poseidon's. You broke us, I said. He smiled, his teeth sharp as shurikens. You broke yourselves. I woke weeping golden ichor. The cell drank it, the spire tightened, the trident's shards sing in the vault. They remember Polyphemos' scream. They remember Odysseus' smile. They remember me. Dawn has come. The Null, lances fire. My body is unmade. My voice is the tide. I am Thalassar, last Archon of the Neptune Enclave, bearer of the Trident Ascendant, keeper of the Imperium's oceanic domains. Now I am dissolved. Now I am the abyss. The cell implodes. The spire falls silent. The oceans rise.